Yes, I think we're ready to start. But before that, I would just like to introduce our expert trainer for today. So, today with us, we have Dr. Gitanjali Prabhu Shetty, who is a practicing counsel in the Mumbai High Court and an arbitrator and an internationally certified trained mediator who also trains for mediation. She's also appointed as an arbitrator and mediator in several cases by the High Court. Since 2006, she has had her independent practice as a counsel, arbitrator, and mediator in the Mumbai High Court. Her practice is spread across dispute resolution with special focus to mediation. Other areas of practice that she indulges in are banking, real estate, commercial contracts, private equity and investments, securitization, corporate law, cooperative societies, trusts, estate planning, testamentary, and personal laws. Prior to independent practice, she worked with Ms. Gergrath and Co. solicitors. She completed her Master in Law and her PhD doctorate in Environmental Law from the Department of Law, University of Mumbai. She has been a visiting faculty with the Department of Law, Mumbai University, for over a decade to students pursuing masters in law and jurisprudence, constitutional law, and environmental law. Dr. Gitanjali has also been a part of the chambers of noted senior counsel Chandra Uday Singh. She has been notified by the state government as an assistant government pleader in the Mumbai High Court. A few places where she's completed her training programs in mediation include the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs (IICA), an international certification course in mediation from CAM, and in 2019 by the world-renowned mediator Kenneth Cloak at Center for Dispute Resolution, Santa Monica, California. Dr. Gitanjali is also part of the following organizations. She is empaneled as a mediator in the Main Mediation Center, Mumbai High Court. She's on the mediation committee of the Indian Merchants Chamber. She is a governing council member and on the panel of the Association of Mediation Practitioners, AMP, Mumbai. She's the vice president, Western region of the Mediators India. She's also a coordinator for Maharashtra e-mediation writings. She has also been regularly invited by various institutions or law colleges to judge and advise the moot mediations, including the Praveen Gandhi College of Law, NMIMS, Kirit Mehta School of Law, Maharashtra National Law University, MNLU, from Mumbai, and the Indian Law Society Center for Arbitration and Mediation, Pune, Symbiosis Hyderabad, NLIUs Bhopal and Jodhpur. We welcome you, ma'am, and I yield the floor to you.
Thank you very much for having me. Now let's begin without much ado. So in the question answer session, I'll clarify many more things to come. All the best, everyone. Looking forward.
All right, so as we start with the role play, what we're going to do is, the ones who are not participating and are only observing, we put off our audios and videos. So it is only the participants who are going to be visible, and it's completely for you to take it on from here. So you can start. The mediators, of course, will be opening with their statements, and please go ahead and carry on.
Just a small point before we start, I would just add on to whatever Kamakshi ma'am has mentioned. If the participants could just rename themselves to the role that they're playing, so probably the mediators can have their name and mediator, and Ketki ma'am, Sudhir sir, Preeti and Deepa ma'am, all of you can just change your name to the role that you're playing. So that will be easier for us to just get used to the role that you are playing.
Nalini, you'll have to help me.
Yes. I'll just do that. I'm just on it.
Thank you.
No problem.
I don't know how to do it on the computer. I know how to do it on the
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will. It's fine. I think you can start. I'll do the needful accordingly. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can start now. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with the opening statement. Good evening, everyone. So myself, Vrishali, I am your mediator, and I have along with me Ms. Sonu, who's a co-mediator, and we'll be having this mediation session in English today and Hindi. Both of us are proficient in English and Hindi. And so before we start with all the discussions and I will explain, before I explain you all about it, I would just want you to introduce yourself, please. The applicant party and the defendant party, please.
Hi.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Hi. I'm Mrs. Shia Sharma, and this is my husband, Sandeep.
Hi,
Yeah.
we are here because we've been called here by
So is this introduction?
Mr.
This
Pandit.
introduction, right? You're giving us
Yeah, so we
Yeah, just
interview. So we are here
just the names, please, so that we know and what we know each other, and then we can go ahead.
I'm Shia Sharma, my husband Sandeep, and this is our lawyer, Mr. Krishna.
Okay. And from the other side,
Yeah, I'm Ranveer Singh Rajput. I have lawyer Sakshi along with me.
Hi, I'm Sakshi.
okay. Hello, welcome everyone here for this mediation process, and I first of all congratulate you for choosing mediation as the process of dispute resolution for whatever dispute you have between you. So mediation, before we proceed, I'll just give you a small explanation of what the mediation process is. Basically, this process is a process within which the mediator, a third party, independent third party, that is the mediator, in which case, in your case, myself and Dr. Sonu are your mediators. So we'll be facilitating a discussion between both of you, wherein you will be able to amicably resolve some dispute and try to come to a solution which will be acceptable to both of you. So both of us are neutral, will remain neutral. We have no interest of any nature in any of the matter that is involved between you, and we are not related to this matter. Having said this, this process is voluntary, and wherever you feel that this process is not going in right direction and you feel you want to have this terminated, you have all the freedom to terminate it. Once you take it up forward, and if you're able to come to a conclusion and where you're able to come to a solution between both of you, that solution is something which is implementable at the court of law through obtaining a decree. While taking in decree is not a compulsory state thing, but it is always suggested. Apart from that, even if, let's say, if you're not in a position to come to a conclusion, you have all the freedom to go ahead and file your legal suit and go ahead with your legal suit in the ordinary way. So it in no way prejudices any of your existing rights and rights that you are enjoying. Trust I'm clear on this part. To move forward, I'll highlight it to you that this process is absolutely confidential. So each one of us, including the both of us mediators, do have a duty to keep the complete confidentiality of whatever is getting discussed during this process. At the same time, whatever getting discussed in this process will not be considered as an evidence in the court of law, just in case if this matter goes to the court of law or is matter of a subject or is a matter of suit. So to that extent, you have all the freedom to talk about anything and everything of the information that may help you to arrive at the solution or at the amicable solution, and be rest assured that it will not be utilized or used in any way which will be prejudicial to your interest. So any of the information that we may take down certain notings, but whatever information that is being discussed will not be kept on record of any form. If whatever notings we are taking down, it will be destroyed by the end of the session once this mediation session is over. So it will be destroyed in front of you only. So there will not be any record of whatsoever. Whatever conclusion happens, the judgment will be again not recorded, just the closure report, just the report. Sorry, not the judgment. Judgment is not the right word I should be using, but whatever decision or whatever solution that you come up, that will not get recorded anywhere, just that a brief of it will be recorded along and a report will be submitted. However, if you don't come up with a solution, a closure report just stating that the solution has not been arrived will be mentioned. The reason thereof will not be mentioned. Now, having said this, I have explained. So during this process, myself and Dr. Sonu might ask you some questions in order to get some information. We might ask you to get into separate private sessions and have discussions with each of one of you individually. The intent of having these private sessions is to try to get some more information, try to understand more more about your situation, so that we can ask more probative questions and the probable solutions can crop from those discussions between both of you. Whatever discussions we will happen during the private sessions, again, unless you are not comfortable, those information will not be passed to the other side. When we will have the private session, we'll try to ensure that we give equal time to both of you, although there can be some time here and there, little bit of here and there, but otherwise we'll try to maintain the uniformity on the time that is being spent with both of you parties. So please be rest assured that the whole intent is of having the private session is to ensure that the solution, the most probable and most optimal solution is you both are helped to arrive at that. So we again are the facilitators, we are not the judge, so we will not give any decisions, we will not give you any judgments, or we will not give you any suggestions or decisions. We might give some suggestions, but it is not mandatory on you to go by that. If you are finding it, you can consider it. Finding it good, you can consider it. Otherwise, you can ignore it. You have all the liberty to think on the lines that fits well with you. Now, having said this, since this is a dialogue that has happened between both of you, and the solution is to be arrived by you. It is we both of us are the mediators, and we are in the control of the entire process, and that's why there will be some rules that we will have to set for ourselves within this meeting room. So a few things that we'll have to keep in mind is that we will be cordial during all our discussions. We'll allow each of the party to talk and complete their side talk, and will not intervene between them when they are talking. You may take down your points, and once they've finished with what their statement or whatever they had to talk, you can come up with your side. So each one of you will be given a due time to talk about yourself and your situation, and to express your concerns about the whole matter. Trust Dr. Sonu, I have covered almost everything. If there's anything that you would like to.
Yeah, I would just like to say that just a small little note saying that we would like to resolve the process as quickly as possible. Say shouldn't take more than 30 days. We try to do it as quickly as possible. There's no point in going on and on about it. And at the end, there will be an agreement which they will need to sign. And once the dispute has been settled, right? And even if the dispute doesn't get settled, we will just kind of make a mention saying that at this stage, the parties haven't been able to resolve their conflict. I mean, we will not say anything further than that. So they are free to take up the matter in court. And but they are most welcome to come back to mediation at any point in time. I mean, it doesn't matter. And the fees, we will discuss as to what our fees are. And so I just would like to know from the parties whether they consent to whatever we have said so far. Do you consent to all this?
Yes.
I have my own doubts about the whole process. If we are going to do everything, then what are you going to do is the first question. The second question is, I think this whole exercise where you are saying we may not arrive to a conclusion and things like that. I think then what's the point in continuing when you are yourself
Yeah, so
about your process?
no, so basically, as Rushali said, that see, we are not the judges. We
If you
don't sit
have some
for a
judgment,
judge.
right? I heard that right.
We are not judgmental about the entire process. We just facilitate the process. Means you will be basically talking to each other and solving the conflict. We just help you to do it in a more controlled environment. That is what we are trying to say.
I think at least we'll, I think
you-
we'll at least try to go through the process and then see if it doesn't suit us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we are always free, but then at least try. Since we have come.
So we
I am
suggest
nothing to
that
lose
you
by
look
when
at
you
this
say
process with open mind. This
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
this is a dialogue between both of you. We will be just facilitating. Okay, as Dr. Sonu said, there is a certain process. Both of us are trained mediators, and there are certain processes that we need to follow. We'll follow the process, and I would suggest that since you have come to this place, that you try to have this process run through and come up with open mind, I would suggest, so that there is, see, all said and done, you have come to this stage. That means you want to have this resolved. So if you
Right.
want to
I
have
understand that, but Sia, what do you feel? Should we go ahead? And do you agree with everything?
Sandeep, I think we give it a try. And if we are not comfortable, then we
See, dear Sia and Sandeep, let me tell you that no problems can be solved if you solve in the past, basically. You have to look into the future and, try to move ahead. What has happened in the past has. Now let us work around it and see what the future holds for us.
I think Sia, you should take the call whether we go ahead or we don't. Up to you.
I think we've come this far. Let's give it a try.
Okay, then we will give it a try and we agree.
Thank you, Sandeep and
That's
Sia.
good. Okay,
Thank you
before
for
you
coming
start,
on this
one
dialogue.
minute. Sorry, Mr. Ranveer Singh, are you comfortable, all the parties? Would you like any
I'm not
refreshments?
comfortable that you didn't welcome Sakshi, who's along with me. But anyway, she will talk
Sakshi
on
and
my
yes.
behalf often. But it's okay. Anyway, Sandeep and Sia have been talking very well with us, and we know them and they know Sakshi well. So Sakshi
Right.
can do the opening for us, and then we'll take it forward. Sakshi ji, boliye.
Is it okay with everybody? Yeah, is it okay? But I think Sia and Sandeep should open first because they have a grievance, and I think we should listen to them first, and then we'll answer all their questions.
Yeah, whatever way, I mean, we leave it to you, whosoever wants to. So, Mr. Sandeep and Mr. Sandeep Sharma, if you would like to
I
talk about
think
your side of the
Sia
story.
will be better in putting up the problem if we want to resolve it. I think Sia, you should go ahead with what our problem is. I think
Okay.
everyone knows, but sum it up.
Okay. Sandeep, I think I'll put it across a very easy few paragraphs, which I think everyone should understand where we stand. See, both me and Sandeep are bankers by profession, okay, and we were both working till recently with the nationalized bank. We vetted out a lot of builders, okay, a lot of builders. And after months of research, we finally decided on RSR builders. And all our light savings we put into their Swapna Villa complex, and we booked an apartment. Okay, it took a lot of thought and a lot of energy from the both of us. We were promised possession, okay, as usual, and we expected the possession as promised in August 2022, and hoped that we would start our life there from August 2023. It's 1 year later. Now it is December 2023, and we seem no close to getting a possession. We have kept all our end of the bargain. We have kept our commitment. We have paid everything on time, and yet RSR has not kept their end of the bargain, or there is no end. Doesn't seem to be any end to their deal at the moment. We have no word, no assurance of when they are going to get possession. We do not want their money. They are offering money, but we do not want their money. Let me be very clear. And I'm speaking for me and Sandeep. We don't want their money. We only want our apartment immediately. Nothing else will compensate our need, what we have. And we have agreed to this mediation with our lawyer, Krishna Iyer, who's helping us through the process, with the clear hope that we get what we were promised. That's it. There's nothing else that needs to be said. We were promised an apartment. We want that apartment.
I just want to do one thing. You cannot buy dreams with money. We have invested in our dreams, and money is not the return. We want our dreams to materialize. We have a lot of plans in mind. We work towards it, and we want the possession, and we want the possession because even the interior needs to be done. I mean, we cannot shift into an empty shell. So we need our time. And if you are going to delay it, how are we going to finish our things? How are we going to move in? I'm very tense about it. And I'm really tense about it. And I really want my property to be given to me because it's our dream.
So we appreciate your concerns, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma. Are you done from your side?
Yes.
Can we go to RSR? Okay. RSR and Ms. Sakshi, if you can please give your side of the story.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this chance. And at the outset, I thank Sia and Sandeep Sharma first because they agreed to this mediation, and secondly for choosing RSR developers as their first choice for their dream home. So thank you both of you. And yes, this Swapna Villas project is our dream project too. And we are a very reputed firm of developers and have never defaulted previously, or we have given always that quality work to our customers, and our customers have always been happy. So this is our dream project, and even we are looking forward to its completion and handing over the possession to not just you, but all the happy customers. So that is the one. And but what has happened is there are some formalities to be completed, and some things are beyond our control. So actually, we request the Samas to be a little more considerate, and we are ready to answer any questions or any concerns they have. We look forward to this mediation process to resolve this issue. And please, again and again, I'm quoting that we all have the best interest of our customers in mind and assure them of our best intention. Thank you.
I'll add to this.
Yeah.
We as RSR Group have been building the best things in Pune. You know that, you've seen that, and we've always done the best for all our customers. We are known today because of what we have given our customers. We do not give shoddy things. We do our best to keep the best thing in place. And sometimes the best comes at some difficulties, which is always there in every kind of projects. When these things are there, we always entertain our clients in a way that they can always understand things. The whole reason why we have got into mediation is to understand why our offer is not being accepted, because we've been in touch with them, constantly explaining them about the delay. They know about the delay. We have updated them on these things. We have told them that there is a problem. We have understood their difficulties. We've offered them the thing of if they wanted to move to Pune, there's a part payment which we are doing to them. We've given all the best that we can help them. We need them to understand that projects, if they have to be ultimately good, we have to work for it, and we definitely make sure that we give the best in their hand. We could have given them a half-made thing, but that would not help them. We do not compromise even an inch of it. So we will give them the best thing. Yes, there is unknown difficulties which are on in space. It will be done. We assure them that they will get the best, and the end result will be something which they have always dreamed for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you both of you.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, yeah. So, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, we can well understand how you're feeling at this point in time. Naturally, I mean, it's over a year that you've not got your property back. But just want to ask you, what made you select RSR? I mean, there were so many builders in Pune. What made you choose RSR only?
Our mistake, I think. Destiny and our mistake.
Yeah, that's what you feel today. But 1 year back, you said you've done a lot of research. So what is it that made you feel that, yes, RSR is the place which you should go for? I'm sure you must have looked at some positive points also.
There were positive points which Mr. Ranveer Singh has said just now about himself and how great he seems to be and how committed he seems to be, but that doesn't translate into action, you see. We've been at the receiving end. This looks like a marketing sham to me. I don't know. Sia, you please.
I have more than 25,000 clients
But
who are happy
yeah.
today.
Hmm.
They've just been served by me.
Return to
There are
talk. And
enough
when we
things where
interrupted,
we
that
have.
was a ground rule.
Where is
One
our
minute.
apartment? Where is our apartment?
Sia, just a
No,
minute.
you
I want to
said
tell
that
you one
it's
thing
not
that
something,
One
so I
minute.
just interrupted.
Hello,
It's
hello,
not something.
excuse me.
We have people to vouch on it.
Mr. and Mrs. Sharma and Arisa, Sakshi, please, we agreed that we'll not be cutting each other and we'll talk on our terms. So,
Miss
please abide
Rushali,
by this.
Miss Rushali, I had not even completed my statement. I was making an attempt to talk to Sia, and Mr. Ranveer Singh jumped the gun.
I
Now,
understand,
Absolutely.
Mr.
find me
Sandeep, but
for
you
doing it.
started it
He's
with a
still
mistake.
doing it.
You
He's
started
still
saying
doing
that we
it.
have not done. A
See,
rapport
he's
doesn't
still
happen
doing
in a
it.
No, I
day.
think
Mr.
I think
Ranveer Singh,
Sir,
you'll get your time.
we will see
You'll
what
get
they
your
want
time to
to
talk.
say and then we'll answer all their questions. We are not
Yeah.
at fault here.
Let's
Okay.
let's take our questions one by one. Let's try and understand each other's position. Everyone will get the equal opportunity to talk. If everyone starts talking, no one will understand any of the point, and we will not be able to progress. So if we are sincerely here to resolve something, let's make an open attempt. Let's make honest efforts towards that. Just we are okay on this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody has to stick to the
Yeah.
rule. I'm very sure about that. And then nobody interrupts what I'm trying to say. Nobody was hearing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If I can say something more, this is the first time in the last so many months that I'm seeing this builder. Earlier, their clerical staff used to shoo us away from the office as if we don't mean anything. And I have, I mean, my interaction with Miss Sakshi, Advocate Sakshi, has also not been very pleasant. And it was over messages on the phone, but it has not been pleasant. But we have, but आता in Marathi we say दगडा खाली हात. I mean, we are the ones who are stuck, and I think I don't know what to say further, but that is what the whole thing is. That I feel stuck. I feel that nobody was hearing me till today, and even now, when I am trying to speak, everyone here seems to have come with a very closed mind, not willing to listen to anything. They just want to blabber how great they are. We know how great you are, and that is a precise reason why we booked our house in your project. Had we had any doubt about it, do you think there are less builders and developers around? Your question, Sonu ma'am, why we chose this particular builder and what research did we do? Now that is the question that I'm introspecting and trying to understand what exactly went wrong in my mind, and was I really out of my mind to have come and deposited all my life saving in there?
Sandeep, I don't think this is going anywhere.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry, Sia. I'm sorry. I'll take it easy.
No. As in they don't seem to be going anywhere. I am very clear that we want our apartment. So they have to tell us when we are getting our keys. That's it.
Okay, I think we will let them
I
answer.
think, Shadi, we would like to have a private session with
Okay.
By
So, Mr. and
description.
Mrs. Sharma, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, I think we will let's have one-to-one individual sessions with each of you. We'll first understand RSR side, and then we'll come to you. We'll understand your side also, and we'll talk to
But
you.
ma'am, why are you taking RSR side first? I mean,
We can
No,
have
any-
the same
we
discussion.
can take you first. It's
They
okay.
volunteered to
No,
have
you
it
will
first.
listen-
That's why. That's the only reason. Otherwise,
No,
there is no reason. We
you
could
will
have had.
you will listen to them, and then you will develop a bias. You don't want a
No,
bias.
No,
are
we don't.
bound- We will not. We are neutral. We are bound to be neutral. We will not develop any bias. Be rest assured about that.
Now, if they want to get assured and they want to get their private session done first, it's okay by us. No problem.
Okay.
Anything in private when the whole spate is public, when the whole world knows that we have not got our possession, what is there to speak in private? What is there to hide? We don't need a private session, do we? Do we need a private session? I don't think we do.
No, not now. We don't.
Not now, right?
Mr. and Mrs., if you are not ready for private session right now, we will have the private session with RSR right now, and then we'll come back to you.
We
Is
will.
that okay?
No, it is not okay. Whatever you want to discuss, if you want it to be discussed clearly, I think you should first let them put up their point. They have not said a single point and they straight away want to go for a private session. I think they should give some explanation. I understand that they want to deliver the best of things and services.
Yes, we will definitely come to that.
They have to. How can you go for a private session
We will
without
definitely come to
have in mind? I mean, then you go ahead with it. Not
Yeah,
an issue.
again and again, we have
Sharma.
Okay.
Sandeep, let's give it
I
a.
think
Let's
we
see
have
how.
been them of our best intentions again and again, but then so that we can explain our side better. Is that okay?
I have no options but to say yes.
Thank
There is
you.
no go ahead with
Thank you,
whatever.
Dr. Logri.
Okay.
So, Rushali, should we have the session now?
Yeah. Can we?
Yeah. So, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, if you can just mute yourself, and I think that's how we did it last time, right?
So for the purposes of this session, we will just have the parties who are not party to the private session mute themselves and switch off their videos.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs. Rushali and Mrs. Sonu, thank you for hearing us. Basically, like we said, we have been doing all our best to get this thing going. And as you've seen, the way Mr. Sandeep behaves is what he's been behaving consistently along with our staff. And that is the reason why our staff has been not behaving probably appropriately what they are saying. So, but as for now, we are sure that in 6 months period, we should get the OC in place. And we have compensated them for their stay for 20,000 rupees, which is rental around the area. We would also not mind extending a rental in one of our places where the rental comes to 20,000, but they do not seem to be accepting anything or hearing anything. So, as far as what we are concerned is that we finish the quality work, and OC application is the only pending thing which we are definite that we will finish in 6 months. So that is where we started offering them this payment where they could take rental outside and go ahead and do it off. But they do not seems to be listening or understanding what we are trying to point out. And with COVID happening, the entire project definitely got delayed by 6 months, and we are just trying to push it.
But then,
But have
only
you
thing
explained?
I
Have you
think-
explained to them like that?
no, what we want to do is we don't want to tell them. That's why we requested this private session, because if this word gets out, then the other
Parties
people,
will.
other people will also come asking for compensation, or the matters might go to court, and basically our reputation is at stake. So
And
we
we
don't
have
want this.
always managed with rest of the party, but Sandeep
Yes.
and Sia, they seem to be very
These are the
adamant in
difficult
closing
ones
this.
actually. So our reputation is at stake, and we don't want this matter to be escalated like.
But have you explained to them in this way that because of COVID that things have slowed down, and have you explained it to them like how you are
Been
explaining
trying
to
to
us?
do that. We have been
We've
trying to do
been,
that,
but they're not
and
listening. That's the whole part.
And
We've tried.
if we understand correctly, you are willing to put them up in some other project temporarily.
Accommodation with which would cost them the same rental around the space.
Is it exactly in the same area?
but we don't know why they are
We
insisting on
have
the same
something
thing.
around
When
close.
OC is not there, they are not going to get electricity, they are not going to get water, they are not going to be able to shift there. So what is the point of asking again and again of the same house?
But can they at least start with the fit out work till the OC comes?
They can. We would allow them to do their fit out work.
Okay. So now, would you like us to tell them all this, talk to them about it,
Yeah,
or
if
would
they are
you?
ready to listen, probably we could also offer them the alternate accommodation with that tune of cost. And if they are really receptive to shift to that place, then we can always allow them. Because if they're
Our legal
receptive, then
team
we
can
can give them this fit out thing as an application availability and try to see if we can close it with them.
no, but we don't know why they are not agreeing to anything. That is so.
So, Vrushali,
Yeah.
And I don't think we should be able to tell them urgently, because then they'll ask for more. Say that, okay, we are ready to do this, do that. That might be seen as the admission of guilt on our part, because getting OC is not in our hands at the moment.
correct. No, but this thing about the alternate accommodation in the same area, have you spoken to them about it, or
We've given the offer of 20,000, saying that they can look out for an accommodation.
you wouldn't be able to find it for them?
They can look out,
No,
because if we give them
but then
something
they
they
should
might
be
not be
agreeing.
happy
They
with.
should be agreeing. Yeah, they should be
If
agreeing.
they
They should
agree
be
to it,
happy
we
with
have no
what they do.
problem.
Maybe they are not getting anything in that amount in that area.
See, they are
But
just
we don't know
fighting
that.
for accommodation. They don't know that. They're not looking around. We are builders. We know we have friends around. There
Okay.
are things as an alternative, but they don't seem to be open.
All right.
And there's another project of ours going on in the same locality as well. So that's not difficult, but somebody should agree to it.
So that is currently the alternate accommodation option that you are talking of is in the same locality, same location that it within the other
We
project.
would
or how?
offer 20,000 or probably a little raise onto that amount, where because the rental around that place lies within that cost. We would not mind going slightly up to it in case if they want a larger space. Okay, to whatever BHKs that they have booked with us, the same BHK in the locality, what they can look out, we've seen the costing is around. Now, helping
We
them
just
is
want
not an
them to
issue,
be a
but they're
happy
not
customer.
open to it.
We just want them to be a happy customer, right?
Yeah. And you also said that the fit out will be possible till you get the OC.
Yes.
Okay. So then should we go ahead and talk to them about this?
If they're open, we would like to talk to them on this.
Okay.
But
All
you
right.
don't want to
You can
disclose
always
the
put the
fact.
proposal, we can talk it out. We're absolutely okay.
Okay. So, or
So
should
we just
we
don't want to
should we
disclose
go
the
ahead?
fact that we are having difficulty. Yeah. We just don't want to disclose the fact that we are not getting OC, because otherwise they'll become very skeptical that we have done something wrong or something like that.
Oh, so you don't want to disclose that you've not yet got the OC.
No.
Yes.
But then what is the reason
That's
for the
why we asked.
delay? That's a
Yeah,
reason.
So we are giving them work pending, which is there.
Sakshi, just let us talk one person at a time. Let him talk. let Mr. Rajput talk.
We have already mentioned it through Sakshi that it is the work pending that is going on and it will get closed soon.
But what is the timeline that you're expecting? You
We
said
have
5,
told in 6 months.
but that's the confirmed timeline you will be able to get the OC?
Yes, mostly it's a 90% go.
So you have already made application for OC, all the necessary
All
formalities.
process in place.
are-
Yes. Yes.
All the permissions are pending still?
Only OC is pending. We have finished all the paperwork.
Okay. So I think, Roshali, we should go ahead and talk to them. Mr. and Mrs. Sharma.
So
Roshali,
generally, what is the time it takes
can't hear you properly.
you to
Roshali, your voice is not clear. Hello.
Hello, I think there is some
just a couple of the
I
Is
think
it
Sonu
not
madam, you
on
can
mic?
take over.
Can't hear her.
You're not clear, Roshali.
Yes, I think Sonu madam, you can take over and call the Samaji.
Okay. So let us go and talk to, yeah.
So Sia, do you
Okay.
think we should have a private session with them?
Let's just see what he has to what
Yeah, so
Dr. Sunu
so
has to say.
would you like to have a private session with us?
I think we need to because I don't see any other way around.
All right, fine. So then let's have a private session.
Sunu, you tell
Okay.
us when they have muted or
Can
stopped
we
their
talk
Yeah,
to
video.
them?
yeah, I think they have all muted. Yeah, they've gone. Rushali, are you back? No, she's also not there. Okay. Okay, so we did talk.
Can we talk
Sorry.
to you with an open mind? And are
Yes,
you
please do.
label us as somebody who is a kit client?
Sorry?
Are you going to label us as
No, I told you we are not judgmental. We are just controlling the process. So please go ahead. Whatever you want to say, you can tell us.
their entire staff feels that we are kit? They
No,
feel
that's okay.
reasonable.
Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Let's not talk of the
No,
past. Let's move ahead.
No, that
So
is that
what
you
is the
don't
reason?
Sunu, let us talk, please. Just listen.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. You tell them our points. I will
No,
listen.
no, I'm just telling. No, Sandeep, you put up your points, then I'll add if anything is left.
You want me
I'm
to
just
start
telling.
or you want to start?
Yes, no, I just told Miss Sunu to just keep an open mind and just hear us out.
Yeah, sure.
So you go ahead, Sandeep, and I'll add in if required.
See, Miss Sonu, as you know, we both are bankers. Okay, we've had a steady.
Yes.
Bankers means a lot of discipline and a lot of predictability. Okay, so for us, what is necessary is that sticking to the limelight, giving things that we want the way they are supposed to be. I mean, I can understand a delay of a month, 2 months, 3 months, but then this is too long. You know, to be very honest with you, we have plans. We have plans. See, we've been working from around 8 in the morning to around 5 in the evening, earning for ourselves, trying to find a home for trying to make both ends meet, try and save on money. Both of us have been working. We've got one son who now
Okay.
is education. We now want him to go to the best of schools that is available to him. We've compromised on a lot of things through life. Am I right?
Right.
Yes,
I
yes.
understand. Yes,
We've
I
been
understand.
accepting transfers and we've been out for 3 years at a time, separated out. So we've not been able to
Right.
give as much, time together with our son. So we have to make sure that now that he's going to be 14 and 15, we have to work on this.
We may
Right.
not identify with our son after if we don't stay with him now. He will never know us as parents. We will be two
Hmm.
people who go to office, come back at 5, 6, 7, just shout at him for getting him disciplined. ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं किया, studies कर लो, ये कर लो, वो कर लो. They will never be able to interact with us as normal people. No, what happens is
Right.
through this time we've not been able to give him any quality time except when we go on vacations. So.
Right.
So I don't know what he thinks of us as parents, but for us, he is our only son, and that's our only future.
Hmm.
Miss Sunu, we have given up our jobs in the nationalized banks. We have changed our place of where we were staying. We have chosen Pune with a lot of thought because we have some family here. Sandeep has started working with his brother's business, which is something totally new for us. I am starting a job with another bank, so it has been a big shift, and this has not been just overnight. So we have really put in a lot of effort into this, and whatever we have earned in so many years, it's not equal to what a builder makes, but it is big for us. We have put all our money in this,
Of
and
course.
and we have really looked into so many builders, so many projects. And with the kind of work we were doing, we've settled on this RSR, and they've totally let us down. I mean, we are looking for living a life now. We can't do this because he's not giving us a flat, and he's not telling us why.
But has he told you how much time does he need more
There has
for
been just delays. He just every time we go there, we are sitting there in their office. Somebody just sits in front of us and tells us कि नहीं हम आपको 20,000 दे देंगे, आप रुको, हम लोग flat दे देंगे आपको. There is no time. There is nothing mentioned, and we can't
Okay.
take this anymore.
I will add to this. See, what happens is every time we call up their office, if you are delayed by even one day for making your payment, they charge you with a interest.
Interest. Yes.
They charge you with an interest. Now, do you think that our dreams are what 20,000 a month? Do you think our child who is now 14, 15 years old, who is about to get into the 10th standard, where his forming years are, where his future is at stake, you think we'll be able to shift places and rent out a place and then move in? They are telling us, you take 20,000. What am I going to do with that 20,000? It is not
Exactly.
going to give me stability that I want. I want my child to stay in a house. Now they are saying we can rent out a place and we can stay. Now renting out a place in place like Pune and in the locality that we have seen, see, we have the best school there. Our child is taking admission in that school. The only reason why we are allowed to have such admission is if we have that particular area where we stay.
Right.
How do I mean, somebody from their side has to listen to my problem, no? Instead
Right.
of I'm very tough and I am not agreeable to things and I'm not somebody who can be talked to, they send a lawyer to me, they send me a paper saying that I need to accept this because there is a delay. There is no explanation why there is a delay. And then the unreasonable thing that I should accept whatever they are saying, it is like take it or leave it. Now, how
Yeah.
can I leave it? And now where do I go after I have left everything? I have left my job. I'm into a business. I've never worked in a business. My income is now not steady. My
Okay.
wife has changed has changed from the nationalized bank. Private banks really don't pay you, and they actually make you. They extract things from you. See, work has changed. Work culture has changed from the government setup to the private setup. For me, life has changed. And these people are giving me 20,000 and they are saying I'm unreasonable, not accepting it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, right. So after talking to them, they are saying that they are willing to give you the permission to go ahead and do your fit out work. Start with your fit out work. The other thing they are saying is,
That they can tell me
Sunu,
also.
we want
I went
Sunu,
to
let them tell us this, Sunu.
sure, so they will. See, the thing is, when we go back together in the joint session, just with an I would request with an open mind, just hear them out what they have to say. So one thing is the fit out work they are willing to start. You can start, and the other thing is that they are even to kind of willing to kind of increase that compensation that they are doing, so that you can be in the same area and temporarily get the accommodation somewhere else. They
Sunu,
are willing to increase it a bit.
we have
So that
to hear all the
right.
assurance from
So, but will
their
you kind of listen to them with an open mind? I mean, once we get in the joint session.
We
Okay,
are
will you let them?
we are willing to hear anything as long as
Okay.
we know that it's a truth. That's it. We want
Yeah,
full
okay,
honesty
Just,
and
right.
just a couple of more questions from my side. I'm sorry, actually, I got disconnected in
Right,
between.
right.
When is the academic year? I believe so. What I understand from whatever discussion is for you having the possession of this premises is very important because you don't want your son's academics to be disturbed as he's getting into a very important year. So just wanted to understand when is his academics starting and how much time do you have in between?
Going to start in June. He's going to start in June. So before that, we need things in place. We need our house in place. He needs to stay in a safe place where he can
Sandeep, we'll have to give the details by March, even if we have to start by June.
I know,
We
I know.
can't give
Forms
them,
will have to
we
be filled
can't
by
give
March.
them.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I think February end or
have to
March
do-
end.
Maximum.
You will
not
have to
more.
do certain fitments, internal fitments, right? So what
Ah.
is the time that you are expecting for that internal work?
We had assumed 1 year, Miss Vishali, but now I think we'll not even get a few months. We
Okay,
have to
so
we have to have that postal address as our
Yeah.
address that we are staying. Only then will our son be allowed into that school. Our entire focus has been this. How can we change that? Give us a let them tell us what else they can do so that we can satisfy this one problem that we are facing, and we have to get it cleared out.
The
It's
All
either
right.
this
perfect-
way or
only
something else.
point of content, the point that I need to be addressed to immediately is that my child should get admission into this school, because for me it is very important. There may be 1,000 good schools, but I have zeroed in on this school. I see my child's future in that school, and they would not allow any other child an admission. See, we are anyways taking an admission at a late date. Now
Right.
the delay is because of our because I think Sia knows why the delay. But at least in 9th standard they are willing to take my child. But if I don't stay in the area where they are having it, how can I compromise on anything else? I don't
So
know what
if you
I
stay, so if you are assured, rest assured that you stay in that area, temporarily in an alternate accommodation, but the same area.
I
Let's
need
talk
the
to
address
them.
proof. That is my point. I need an address proof to show that I
Sure.
stay in this area. This flat we have booked because we know that it is in the area that comes under this preview of this.
So
If that
is it
fulfills,
okay?
I'm okay with it.
Is it okay if you talk to them openly about the school thing? Would you like to talk to them?
Of course, I have been saying
Sure.
only that.
So let's go and talk to them then. Let's
Yeah,
go
do
in
you
the
have
joint session.
reservations about talking about this to the builder?
Sandeep, we'll see what this one has to say, Rajput.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Let's go. Let's go
see
back to the
what he has on the
joint
table, and
session.
then yeah.
Yeah. Joint session. Yeah. Okay. Sakshi and Mr. Ranveer Singh Rajput. They are there. Ah, they've come.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, Mr. Ranveer Singh, we have spoken to Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, and they have certain points which are quite relevant. We feel that they need to discuss with you. Primarily, one being about their son's education and schooling. So, just hear them out about it and see what you can do about it. Yeah, you can talk, Sia.
Okay.
Sandeep, you would like to take this, or you want to just listen to them first?
Sia, you
And
start.
I think we should
Uh,
listen to them rather
yes,
than me
Miss-
saying something. Let us see what they have to offer.
Miss
Oh,
Sula,
no,
I
we want to know why he has delayed it, and we want to know exactly
Okay.
when when we are going to get a flat.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
I
the
need to know that first.
right. Okay. So, Mr.
I think let them speak first because it's their concerns we want to listen, and then I think we can
I,
offer some alternate
Sakshi ji,
solution to
let
it.
me just put
That's
up a thing. No problem for whatever they've spoken. I'm happy that for the first time I'm listening different thing from this talk. Well, for those people who do not know, I run a lot of NGOs. I also have the school around this place, which is run. That is Swarupa Nagar itself is run. There's a school where I head that in the funding thing. We basically made this entire city Swarupa Nagar for the whole purpose. And that is where this entire elite structure is being built. This is a city by itself. So I'm happy that they've come out with something like this, that's a trouble. And had it been spoken to our staff, we would have gone to help them. Now, like we have already said, we are ready to compensate them with 20,000 per month so that they can get an accommodation close by. And if they have some problem in getting their kid into the school, we'll work it out with them.
No,
I think, Sakshi, we should not have a problem in closing it up with the amount that we are providing.
But I think we have not spoken about our problem.
now,
We're really
yeah,
sorry.
please,
Out of the
please
road.
talk about it. Sandeep, talk about it.
We have not mentioned our problem. This is Deepa speaking, not the role play.
Okay.
Sorry, very
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
Mrs.
why I
Deepa.
was trying to take over. That's okay.
All right.
This
So
happens when everybody knows the plot, I think.
Yeah, I
of
think
course,
so.
okay,
It's
so
a bit
the
confusing.
session during which the confidential information was discussed and you all were still around, but you all are not actually supposed to hear
Yeah.
what is discussed. So that was the idea. But anyways, we are all learning in this process. And I'm now going to actually invite Dr. Geetanjali to sort of give us a feedback on what are the pointers that she sort of has to tell us as far as this entire role play is concerned. And we also have JP along with us. I don't know if he's he's here with us right now, but in the event he's also with us, maybe we can get feedback from him as well after Dr. Geetanjali.
Okay, hello everybody. So I applaud each one of you to an excellent mediation session. Well done. It was seamlessly, we can say, a very realistic picture. Every one of you outplayed each other and the roles provided.
Thank you. Sorry.
So if you start like this, we'll soon have excellent mediators amongst us very soon. So on this optimistic note, a few tidbits which, from my viewpoint, as even if I do mediation today and you were watching me, I'm sure definitely with a stranger's eye or with someone who's, giving a perspective, you could definitely even today add a few pointers to me. It's like lawyers and us doctors, correcting our own drafts. So in the night you prepare a draft, and in the morning my junior gets it to me and I said, oh my God, which fool did this? So you ma'am, you shared it yesterday night. I said, oh my God, did I? So the same thing goes for mediation. You must have learned when you do this role play that you just can't seem to have a played out or thought out part. You just will have to go with the flow, be natural. As mediators, we have to remember that number one, the only thing that we control is the process. We cannot control the outcome. We cannot control, seemingly we cannot control the conversation, but we can definitely, because we watch them, so we can definitely channelize those conversation to lead them to what we feel may be beneficial to them. But the outcome remains with them. Now, the advantages which you will see with these conversations are, firstly, what I find that when you go to court or when we are in an arbitration, they come with the scope of the matter. In mediation, what is wonderful is whether it is a court annex mediation, whether it is a private mediation, or whether it is a pre-institution mediation, parties before you can decide the scope. They can tell you, ma'am, you have given us the floor. We have these 4 issues as brothers, sisters, husband, wife, commercial mediation, but we would only like to stick to these 2. The others, we would, we don't want to do it today. Contrary, they could bring in 2 more issues and say that whilst we are deciding these 2, why not the other 2, so that we clean the slate and we have a great future together. Having said that, it all depends on how you do the opening. Easier said than done. So when we say, mediators, kindly introduce yourself, Now, when we ought to introduce ourselves, like Mrinalini was reading out, my biodata, and I don't know, embarrassment, or I was totally uncomfortable. But thank you, Mrinalini, for that was really well done. So the thing is, you have to keep it so crisp that it should not be bragging, and yet you have to slay it in such a way that you can infuse confidence into the people who are listening to you. So next time that you tell them, so are we ready to begin? They have to say, yes, ma'am. So your personality, the way you speak to them, should be somewhere between friendliness and keeping the reins which can't be seen with you. So it's like your horse, it's like your car, it's like your partner. You have that hidden agenda, but ultimately it is all because you are in the driver's seat. You are just going to take the car because you are in the mediation process. You know, you have the complete confidence that you will take them to a logical conclusion. And even they who would have become, once they have the confidence that they can do it, they'll help you do it. So the beginning definitely is going to be tough because there is venting. We begin with the sitting arrangement. So prior to mediation, what we do is we decide what kind of a sitting arrangement we are going to do, because what kind of a matter we are going to face. Thereafter, once they are in front of you, you decide what kind of people are before you. If they are well-educated people, a word to the wise is enough. But if they are husband-wife, they may be highly educated, but they are upset. And they have chosen mediation because they want to vent. Otherwise, they would have gone to a family court. To give them that chance, but while sympathizing, don't let them overdo it. Like Sandeep over here, who I think outplayed his role so well. So when you have a Sandeep before you, then you have to know that Sandeep needs to be won over in such a way that he will soon be made to sit next to you, because if you have him next to you, everything will smoothen out. So learning, observing. So while you're doing your opening statement, introduction, crisp, you tell them about the process, you tell them about confidentiality, you tell them about voluntariness, neutrality, then you come to ground rules. Be very firm, because the only thing that you're going to govern is govern the process. When you say phones off, when you say not to cut each other, the moment you find someone cutting in, stop the process. Raise your hand and say, everyone quiet, mute yourselves, please. And then you go to that person and say, what part of the ground rule we didn't adhere, we didn't understand. It will apply even to me. The moment you have to say something, you want to butt in, raise your hand, and I will give you a chance to, but do not cut another person. Only when you have co-mediators, you have to remember that co-mediators should, in the beginning itself, there should be no discussion in front of the parties. The roles of the co-mediator should be that you do the opening statement, then give it to me. I'll introduce and complete myself, whatever they feel comfortable. Nothing should be done in front of them. It should be done seamlessly so that it infuses confidence. Secondly, never tolerate rudeness or any remark which you need to keep in check, go unchecked, because then you are giving a message, Arey kuch bhi chalta hai. We can just carry on with anything. So like we have to sometimes do, sir, you may not be in court, but there is a decorum we need to follow. Without a decorum, you tell me what can be achieved. And as I already said, this is completely voluntary. You don't need to make a discussion here, sir, whether you want to be part of a process or not. Do you think I need to give you 5 minutes? Why don't you both go outside, Sia and Sandeep, and decide once and for all that, whether you want to be a part of this process or not. And after this, once you have decided, I do not want any further discussion. as far as the process goes. Secondly, Sandeep, you asked a question about, since we are going to do everything, what will you do? Yes, you will sit in the car. You will tell me where you have to go, but I will drive the car. Without me driving the car and taking you there, sir, your sitting will not achieve everything. So the point is that how you convert the whole conversation in such a way to, perplex the perpetrator, you will have not achieved anything. And moreover, when you find that there is a husband-wife or there are two partners, you have to just tell them that as far as mediation goes, the lawyer needs to only speak about the legal aspect when called upon to do so. Minimalistic rule. And you should also in your statement say, opening statement, there will be times, dear lawyers, when we may kindly excuse you and we may just have meeting with the parties till we call upon you again to save your time, from until parties reach on the same page where they would like to have you around. This is just to tell them that legalities may come, but will come a little later. But having said that, you have to glorify the role of the advocates in your opening statement by saying that you can do nothing without having them there. Mediation advocacy, only with their help, they are making the parties understand, because parties are going to blindly believe you, sir. So I beseech upon you that whatever is said and done over here, you also subscribe to that thinking, and please help them understand that this is totally legal and valid in law. This is what they will help you with. So then when you tell them that we may kindly excuse you, then they will definitely not feel bad about it. Also, I feel when we tell a particular person, like Sonu said to Dr. Ketki that, ma'am, please don't interfere. But then thereafter, you have to immediately remember that when you say, Dr. Sudhir will speak, let him speak now, then immediately say, sorry, ma'am, I had to cut you in there for the ground rules, but now you may complete what you wanted to say. And so immediately what you have done, the cutting part of it, you have re-infused. So you have given the picture of neutrality. When a person goes back and thinks about it, you have immediately made that person realize, and then next time on the next date of hearing, the person will know that no matter what, I am going to be called upon before any talk is made about our matter. The moment my client finishes, they always ask me whether I need to add anything. This is what you have to remember. Secondly, never ask a question to which you do not know the answer. So there are two kinds of questions, as you have already learned. One is open-ended questions. You have to decide when you need to ask the open-ended question. So when you want to get out more and more of the story, you will have to ask them open-ended question. When you want to pin them to a particular point, you ask a close-ended question and quickly finish the conversation. Yes, doctor, you have raised your hand. Dr. Sudhir, go ahead.
Yeah, you said the lawyer can be excused, means they can be asked to leave the premises, or they sit there and listen to it?
I'm talking about generally, sorry, you're very much right. In an online meeting, I was just saying that sometimes it so happens that, the lawyers are just sitting and the stories go on. At that point of time, they do not have anything to add on, especially in personal matters, because they both know. So what you can do, you can put the parties in a waiting room, and you can speak to the lawyers and explain to both the lawyers that, what you're really going to do is let both the husband and wife vent it out. You're just going to go, and which lawyer wants to sit and hear the stories? He's already marked his appearance and he will be paid. He doesn't have to sit there for an hour or 2 hours, just gaping at them without adding anything. And therefore, we can have them excuse. Even in real life or in a physical meeting, you could always tell the lawyers that, I think we could take it from here. now they have to, so we can ask them, do you need your lawyer to be here while you're, giving your story, or you feel comfortable? They'll say, no, ma'am, let him go. So he can say, I have another matter, I'll go. Next time I'll be there. So depending on the situation, you do it in such a way that you do not want to have too many people crowding the place, what will happen is that you have, the main job of a mediator is to provide a safe atmosphere. A safe atmosphere where people will feel comfortable to talk and talk and talk and vent, that they themselves didn't know that they were capable of venting. And that can only happen when you have one pair of eyes to look into. But if you have a lawyer who keeps butting you, or who keeps then prodding you, or who takes you out during a break and tells you, "Aisa kyun bola? Wo kyun kiya? Ye kya kiya?" then you will be at the mercy of two people. So therefore, to limit that, what I notice, it works well for me when initially I just let the party speak and speak and speak, because they are basically clearing the mind. If you will notice one thing, it's very, very difficult. When parties come to you, they come with an unpleasant conflict. The reasons may be many, but what they want to do, as we all do, whatever is unpleasant, we want to shift it at the back of the mind, and we don't want to think about it now. As mediators, by gently asking questions, by giving them that atmosphere, what you make them do is think there, think now. You make them do the thinking. So basically, they are cleaning the cobwebs from their mind. Instead, suppose we do like this. Yeah. So the builder did this. Yeah. So the thing is that now the person will not feel that he's venting. The person will feel that you are just trying to get rid of the conversation to come to the point. Now, remember one thing. Is a better outcome. They go feeling fully satisfied that, they thought about what they were just trying to avoid thinking, because it was giving them stress, but you made them do that unpleasant thinking, or that they told you their whole story. The thing is that they even tell their lawyers the story, and the lawyer drafts for them. What big difference? You have to be so curious. You have to virtually be in their shoes, trying to think, empty them. Only when they have emptied themselves, they will seek you. Now you're not controlling them. You're just following a process. You're allowing them to vent. You're taking them from a position of ego. I want this too. I need this, ma'am. I need this. I cannot live without this. Please understand. Make it happen for me. That is where we have to reach. So, like I said, each one of you have, I applauded each one of you because I saw that you all definitely have learned the process. Definitely. You realize all the intricacies. Now you have to master the art. So the mastering of the art is learning the nuances. It begins with your introduction. It begins with your how you want to refine your introduction by giving all the important details, so you infuse confidence that this woman can do her job. But you don't want to sound like a braggart that what studies you did and who cares. The more you should have an experience to do the job. You should sound it rather than whatever. Then the ground rules. Don't have a per se command on the ground rules. Take it up from where you are. You may, there may be instances where the lawyers may need to take their phone. So you may not want them to switch off their phone. You just say mute your phones. And if you have to take some call, which is you are waiting for it, you may kindly take my permission and take a minute. They are happy. So you can ask them before that. If none of you is going to get any important call, I would be very happy if you just keep it aside for some time. Just forget about those phones for some time. And then you prove it that they don't need that phone for that 1 hour when they come to you. Then you start by saying the process. So I finish my opening statement. Now each of you will give the opening statement, followed by your lawyers, who will add the legal aspect. After which we are right now in a joint session. I will soon have to break up then you make them understand that I will have a caucus. I will also reaffirm my confidentiality in the caucus. I will tell you the reason for it. And in the caucus, the reason being is that when I find that, we all are speaking the same thing and we are not being able to churn out any solution, sometimes it is very necessary, and mediation process has enforced it, that breaking into a caucus helps. So if someone questions you, why me? Why them? Say, please, it's the process, not me. It's the process which calls for it. Blame the process. Take help of the process. It is the process. And keep saying, I do not control the outcome. I do not control your emotions. I cannot control your thoughts. The only thing you must permit me is to control the process so that we all reach an amicable solution. Then after that, once we are done, we will give you options. We will take options. We will first put down the issues. First, we'll put down the issues. We'll decide which of the issues which we need to target first. You help me with that. Now, sometimes what happens? You take them in a caucus and you tell them, all right, the reason I called you for a caucus, after you have affirmed confidentiality, you ask them, so sir, would you like to go for plan A or plan B? They'll say, ma'am, what do you think? Now, firstly, the immediate thing which would come to our mind is saying, I'm not allowed to advise. I'm a mediator. No, you cannot say anything what you can and cannot do. They wouldn't be here otherwise. So what would you do? You tell them, what have you understood is plan A? Can you just repeat that for me? I understood, but just to get it from you. And plan B? Oh, so why are you thinking so much? I'm sure you have reasons why you are confused about which works for you. And that is the way you make them think. Now, that is not finished. Now, this you have made them think. Now, from a position of what you say, ego, we bring them down to need. So the ego says, I want this, and I want this. I want a house next to where my son lives, so that it is very close. It is the best school. We have compromised our life for our only son. But what is the need? The need is a house anywhere. And then you think about the raise options for them. You have not to advise. Okay. Now, for example, let us think aloud. The man can't give you a house. What is your alternative? When you go to court or you go for arbitration, it is called BATNA, best alternative. So what is your alternative? Your alternative is you will go to court. The matters will be pending for 10, 12 years, sir. Where do you see light at the end of the tunnel? Negotiate here. Let us see what is the best you can squeeze out. So he will say, no, now the ego will speak. The ego will say, I want to take him to court. I want to teach him a lesson. So you say, oh, is that what you need to do? I thought you just mentioned that it is your son. For your son, you're doing all this. No, you have a history of revenge with the builder. You want to teach him a lesson. So you begin. I'm just curious. I just want to know. I'm just helping you. And that is the way you prod. And once you have brought them there, then you give them options. So then you say, okay, therefore, what options do you see? One, you see that there is an option of an alternative, that they give you an alternative accommodation. They raise you from 20,000 to 40,000 or N amount. So kindly check. Look at any, what if I tell you that It could be a possibility that they want to do it for you, but their hands are tied and they can't do it for you. Take it in that way. Then what would you do? Would you not look around and find out any other options or houses that are available till the time the builder has sorted out his options? So at the next date, I want to know which is the next best option that you have. So this way you prod them to do. So you are giving them hope that they want to come next time. Otherwise, if we simply ask them, then they will say, what is the point in going again for the next meeting? We are not reaching anywhere. And therefore, then you pin them down and take it from them. At the end, never ever tell them in your opening statement that if we reach success, we will find a success report. If we fail, we will file a failure report where we won't mention any reason. Wrong. Never ever. Nobody wants to hear that. You always talk positive and say that, and when we have a conclusion, which we will definitely, we will call it a mediated settlement agreement, where you will put your thoughts as to how you want to go about resolving this conflict in your own way. That is the way you need to word it initially, because it is your first meeting with them. And as your meeting progresses, they will get more and more information and more. You are not hoodwinking them or you're not lying to them. What you're doing is you're giving them faith in the process, which they themselves will then soon develop. That is what you are doing. Okay, I think, crossed my limit of my badbad. So what he said, kit. Okay, so therefore, any questions you'll ask me.
So, Dr. Geetanjali, let me take this moment to thank you for the elaborate feedback and explaining the entire process so beautifully for us. Thank you so much. It was something I was taking my notes down, and we had a few questions for you actually.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes. So I think Dr. Deepa.
Yes, Deepa, tell me. Sandeep, I'm never going to forget Sandeep. Yes, Sandeep.
Madam, you can call me Deepa, that's better.
That was really well played. Yes.
No, basically the question is, when you said that we need to ask everyone whether, what would we do if, other than going to the court, would it not sound like a warning to the other party that, see, if you don't settle here, you are in for a long process?
Excellent question, to the point. See, remember this. Why do we have a joint session and a caucus? There are some things you remember. One wrong question in joint session and it is closure. Never ever do that mistake. See, I have had people asking when there is a joint session, sir, is your amount within the period of limitation? That means what you're giving the other side? You're giving the other side a cue to check limitation. Remember, never do things which you are going. That is the reason you will soon learn that things to do in a joint. How do we know we need to have a joint session or a caucus? That is something which you have to learn the mastery. A violent couple come in, immediately break them into a caucus. The moment you spend 3 to 4 minutes, it's the end of the meeting. Trust me, there will be no more mediations, because both will go both ways with ego, and you have no way with ego. You can handle a person, you can't handle egos. How will you do it? And it's a horrendous task just to get them to your door or to get them into a meeting. But once gone, they're slippery as an eel. So, Dr. Deepa, absolutely. You mentioned that only to the party whose alternative he thinks is going to court. Now, between you and the builder, obviously, you're the person who has a cause of hurt and you will approach the court. So what I have to tell you is that whilst telling you everything optimistically, I have to tell you that, sir, if you don't use this golden opportunity where you're getting to speak with the builder directly, tomorrow the alternative is that you go to court where your two lawyers will be talking to each other. You will never get that one-to-one with a builder, which you're getting today, isn't it? Today, from the mouth of the builder, you're going to ask any question and they're going to clarify. You can, in a caucus, why caucus? In a caucus, you can use your mediator. In mediation competition, points are given, making use of the mediator. You just tell your mediator, ma'am, get it out of from them. No, please. What is the best alternative? What is the thing that they are willing to give us? What is the best option that they exercise for us? You make use of your mediator. Get the picture? So as much confidence you can infuse, but the same thing you cannot tell the builder. You cannot tell the builder that, if you go to court, do you know if they go to court, what is going to happen? Never. Don't. That alternative you don't even have to mention. We'll say, 10 saal sadenge court mein. Jane do. They have been to advocate. They have done everything. They know everything. You never raise that topic with them. So whom to ask which question is very, very important. It's like one step in the abyss, straight, you're inside. You can't even retract it. Yeah, Dr. Sonu?
Thank you, ma'am.
So what if one party, kind of just goes on and on and on and on,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Very nice.
Sandeep, for example. I mean, it is just on and on and on in the private section, joint section. Should we then cut them? Or...
One minute. Very nice question. I wanted to give you an answer. Thank you for bringing that to my notice. So you always will get one stormy petrol in among the 6 people that you come to you. What you simply do is, when the first time they talk, just let them talk and you do this. And then you paraphrase it for them. So, Sandeep, what I understood, what you're trying to say, apart from this kit, what you're using or whatever you were saying, which part I didn't get really, what you're trying to say is that you had, done a thorough search, and after your thorough search, you found this builder. Now, the wrong question Dr. Sonu had asked was, why this builder? I don't know, Sonu or Vrishali, who are.
I asked him.
No, wrong. How can you ask the snake why you bit one particular person? It has no meaning, because what answer were you expecting? Sonu?
That maybe they did their homework before narrowing down their search, and he has done a lot of good things, built good properties, and
he still has it. So suppose a doctor does 10 good surgery, but he has, made a mistake on my leg. The 10 surgery is not going to speak for the one mistake that he will do. It's like saying, suppose I say, I have done this training and that training, and I keep on bragging. And then when you go back home, you'll say, all she spoke was of a stupid training. Who's interested? You get the picture. Never, ever ask a question to which you don't have an answer. So thus, when you paraphrase, you take you are paraphrasing it for the other side. So you will say, so let us understand what Sandeep was trying to say. Sandeep was trying to say that he is completely stressed because he's not getting this flat from the builder. He's also duly stressed and he's confused whether he should continue with mediation or not. And he's this and he's that. As far as the confusion about mediation is, Sandeep, I would like that you stick to facts, because it will be easier for the other side to respond to you. That you do it in such a way that all the while giving him credibility, he will understand that lousy and useless talks are of no value. You're not getting affected by it. And keep a straight face. Don't show emotions that you're fed up of his, rantification. You're not bothered. He keeps on ranting, let him rant. I see. Right. Keep on, let him do it once. Okay. Then maybe after that, yes, we can begin with the question answer sessions. Yes, Dr. Preeti.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. Ma'am, I just wanted to know, as a mediator, do we give suggestions about how to resolve it, or we just point them in the direction so that they can come up with a solution themselves?
Never. So very nice question. Like I summarize, and quickly I'll summarize again, only the process. The process will take you from, now why opening statement? Because बाद में they cannot tell you, तुमने तो बोला ही नहीं confidentiality, आपने तो बताया ही नहीं था voluntary, क्यों नहीं बताया? In my opening statement, I बताउड everything to you. So first. Second, when you are having joint session and you're doing the, what you say, caucus, you are again playing upon them. You are hearing them, you're watching them, you know both the parties, you soon begin to become the custodian of information. Once you become a custodian of information, you can utilize that information to take them to the right place that possibly is theirs. But ultimately, see, suppose you know it is this house should be bought by them, but he doesn't have the wherewithal to pay it. He fails the reality check. Then what can you do? You can't do anything. You get the picture. So you can bring them to the most possible conclusion, but execution is ultimately the circumstances which will prevail. This will go on into many lectures. I'm sorry. it will be really, but I have tried my best to answer. And let me now not make any more, otherwise I'll be castigated for delaying the question answer. Yes, all to you, Kamakshi. Now I'm going to shut my mouth. Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gitanjali. And we don't want you to shut your mouth. In fact, we are just so happy to hear from you. So, in fact, one of the first things that I wanted to ask you, as a mediator, you started on really early when mediation was not even so much spoken about or talked about in India, like way back in 2006. So tell us, how did you actually start off with your journey? What inspired you to get into this field?
It's not going to be very useful for our participants here, but of course, I was a cutter lawyer. I joined Gagrat and Company, where I was trained to be a solicitor. Then I realized that I'm not interested in solicitor. I would like to be where all firework takes place. So I became the counsel. I used to argue matters and send back the brief. I was in the chambers of senior counsel Chandar Uday Singh. Then I had my own chambers since then, 2006. Then one fine day, Justice Chandrachud, as he then was, and a small coterie, we were invited by a senior lawyer for mediation. I heard the mediation. I was very young and very raw, like much worse than you all over here. And I said, do you think a matter can be settled by this talks? Absolutely rubbish. And when I went back, I said, I love my day in court. But soon I realized that as many 10 years gone by, and I realized my people were never happy whether I win or whether I lose, because you have the next appeal around the corner. It is then that one fine day, my friends who were doing this very actively got me into IICA, where I did role play and I acted like Dr. Sandeep. And my God, it gave me so much pleasure, I can't tell you. But soon when I did mediations, I then realized the happiness which I saw on the people's face. 10 years in a court for one small amount, and which matters we settle. You won't believe I have done more than 100 mediations since then. And maximum matters, I don't even have to bother. Parties come to you and they're so eager to settle, I can't tell you. You just have to manage the process, and may all this happiness be yours. Next question.
Yes. So a lot of our participants here are actually doctors.
Doctors, I'm told.
Yes. So when there are matters between doctor-patients particularly,
Very
a
much.
lot of them end up going to the consumer forum,
Yes.
and it does provide for mediation as well. So could you tell us a little bit about how that process works, and does the new Mediation Act sort of supersede what the consumer forum process is? How does that work?
So firstly, yes, whether doctors or whether any profession, mediation is here to stay. The only, and the new act is vociferous. It allows community mediation, it allows pre-institution mediation, it allows court annex mediation, also only mediation that it is doing a little rethinking, and I'm sure all this is on the annual, things have to be sorted out as far as international mediation goes. But otherwise, all form. See, we till now, every time that we did mediation, when we did not have an act, when kidhar likha hai that confidentiality, kidhar likha hai, they would, people who were, so I said it is a process. Kahin likha nahi hai, koi judgment nahi hai, but ye process hai. But today we have an act to enforce confidence. Today, complete confidentiality. Today we have an act which talks about who can be a mediator. There is a mediation council. It's all the while enhancing, encompassing mediation in all forms, whether it is institutional mediation or individual mediation, everything. As far as doctors go, or whether we are talking about corporates, it's the same thing. Now look, in corporates, what is happening? So that I'll give you a synonym kind of a picture. So in corporates, instead of you having outside mediators, you can have an in-house mediation, like they have an in-house counsel or in-house legal department. You can have an in-house mediation department. Same way amongst the doctors, number one is, of course, you have a consumer forum where people are going, and consumer forum is heavily relying on their panel of lawyers for mediation. But also, even if you have your own in-house your mediation, Medical Council of India can have their own doctors acting out as mediators, because they are saying, the law simply says that any person of Indian origin can be appointed as a mediator, either by the parties or by the court, depending on what kind of a dispute, and this has to be except only for international mediator. That is kept again on this. Yes, Dr. Subodh, I cannot see you actually. It's complete dark. Oh, there. Okay, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just part of the audience. There were too many people representing the different participants.
Yeah.
My question is more of a dilemma, and I don't know whether there's a correct answer to that.
Okay.
See, when we as doctors sit as mediators, and we have medical cases in front of us, so we have a one participant who is a patient who is aggrieved, and the other party is a doctor or a hospital. So there will be a presumption that I would be biased towards the doctors because I'm a doctor. So it's brother kind of thing. And the doctor is also likely to think कि अपने ही जात वाला है, हमको इतना ज़्यादा परेशान नहीं करेगा. Like, we
Yeah.
have the bar council, we have
Absolutely.
the medical council.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think one gets over that bias or create that feeling amongst the participants that it's not so? Like we will simply say, I don't have a conflict, that blah 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 blah. But like somebody like Deepa or Sharma is going to say, "Aisa nahi chalta hai," like she's bound to somebody of her type.
Suppose I got it exactly. I'm going to cut you short because Kamakshi is making all eyes at me. So the thing is simply this: just like lawyer to lawyer, there is total mistrust. I'll tell you simple thing. When I was myself a lawyer going to a mediator, and when the parties would come back with me and I would say what transpired because they shut me out, I would always say, don't rely. See, we have to go back to court. This is a court annex mediation. Court has sent us. It's a one-time thing. We have to go back. The thing is, you have to let a lot of water flow under the bridge first. Two, it can't be gained. It has to gain momentum of its own, and you have to keep at it. For example, suppose you become a mediator, Subodh, okay? You don't tell them that, you tell them the normal, I'm going to be neutral, and though I'm a doctor, I see this as a total perspective. But by your own actions, you infuse confidence in them so that they go out and say, my God, he's a doctor, but he's totally neutral. Now, we are all very intelligent. Maybe, people don't give each other so much credit for it. But remember, every one of us is very intelligent, very perceptive. So the thing is, the moment you are neutral and you convey it, it reaches them. And they will infuse that confidence not only in you, but thanks to you to the process. That's the only way I see. Like we lawyers started out, our brothers in the professions think that, we are out to get them. We are out to wipe out the advocacy profession because we want to bring in mediation in place of arbitration or all adversarial, but which is not so. So same goes for doctors, or for that matter, you have to do that, what it takes. That's all I can say.
Yes, Dr.
Thank you so
Gitanjali.
much.
Sorry. Yeah. So, Dr. Gitanjali, you did make a mention of international mediations being slightly different. And particularly when you do have cross-border agreements, or one of the parties is not from India, for example, then are there any specific sort of formalities that one needs to look at, and how can these agreements, if at all one is reached at, be implemented?
Wonderful question. So we are all signatories. India is a signatory to the Singapore Convention. Singapore Convention had propagated this cross-border and which gave a tremendous impetus to what you can say international mediation, just like the New York Convention did to arbitration. But the thing is that, look at it this way: the act felt that it had to tread little carefully. Because if it would open floodgates of not knowing where to tread, and just open floodgates to let all international mediators come in, or institutions come in, when we have not at all set our own house in motion. Basically, let us look at it. Today we don't have a mediation council of India who will propagate, like what kind of it took such a long time for even arbitration to be really organized and put in place. So same thing goes to the mediation. So let us have a council in place. Let us put our own house at ease, as we say. And once we are confident that we are having a process of mediation, we are having not we have proper trained mediators doing the thing, and not people who just take one small training and say I'm ready for mediation, then definitely we'll welcome. In the meantime, what it merely says is that we are not providing you a machinery to enforce those agreements. You may find it elsewhere. So if there is trust between the parties, we did well before the act. We just go on the way we did before the act. Rest, there is going to be enforceability. That's all that it says.
Yes. So, just staying on this very topic, in terms of documentations and, for even regular mediations, unlike arbitration, wherein you find that if there is an agreement, then the courts are bound to sort of allow that to happen first. How is the process for mediation? Does the Act throw any light on that? How does that process work?
So
Say,
we
for
have
example,
correct. We have what you call as we always had mediated settlement agreement, and we all know that there are three kinds of mediations basically. So the first one is where a matter gets referred to you by the court. So tomorrow the court says Dr. Subodh Sirur has been appointed as a mediator. Since this is a matter of medical concern, then he will understand the intricacies of what was followed and not followed. Whereas if you give it to Gitanjali, she may not be able to understand the nuances of the case. So the matter is referred to Dr. Subodh. Now, once he receives the matter and he goes through the entire process, there may be things which they agree and there may be things which they don't agree. But once they agree, then you have what you call as a mediated settlement agreement. Earlier, we had what you call the only place that we found enforceability was under Section 89 of the Civil Procedure Code, which says that just like an award under the Arbitration Act, so also when you have an MSA, you can enforce and have it executed. Now, in a court annex mediation, the moment an MSA is reached and Subodh signs it, the parties sign it, then the copy is tendered to the main mediation center or to the court directly. Next time the matter gets called out, the court will say, okay, I'm annexing this. I had sent the parties for mediation of Dr. Subodh. They have successfully completed the mediation. So I'm passing an order in terms of the mediated settlement agreement. Now, once that order is passed, you have something which can be enforced. Tomorrow, if there is any complaint or any dishonoring of any of those clauses, you can come back to court and file a contempt. In the same way as you do for award, you will directly go and execute the award the moment you get an award within the n number of days. Same way goes with any order passed by a court. So it is having the sanctification. What about pre-institution? In case of a pre-institution, there is a format provided. So format has a covering letter, and they have a format where the party's name, which day the matter was referred to you, how many dates you had, who attended it, and at the end, mediator, two parties, their lawyers have to sign, and you annex the consent term to that. The moment the consent term, 3 copies have to be given at Dindoshi or Mazgaon. These are the 2 commercial courts. And the moment you give that, that goes into the mediation center, and the matter is put to rest and the file is closed. Suppose you file a failure report, then immediately the failure report is put to file, and the parties are informed, since the mediation was a failure. Now the parties can take up the this and file the suit, because pre-institution mediation means there was a precondition that you should go give one chance to mediation, which has failed. Now you kindly go into the mainstream and file your suit. So that's the way an MSA is being handled. I hope I have answered the question. In a private mediation, it's very difficult, because parties come to you, you first enter into what you call as agreement to mediate. In agreement to mediate, you put all the clauses so that you can bind the parties, that you have told them about voluntariness, confidentiality. You explain to them that if we reach a settlement, what happens? If we fail, what happens? So when you have a mediated settlement agreement, essentially I've done a lot of family arrangements where you merely do the arrangement, all the parties sign, and you hand over 2, 3, 4 original to as many heads or kartas of the family are there, and that is where they want it to reach. They don't want to take it to court. It is they honor it because they have trust in that agreement.
Yes, and would there be any difference when the platform is in the form of an ODR, wherein it's online, which is something that is happening quite a lot these days?
Correct, absolutely. Online is here to stay thanks to COVID. One thing we can thank COVID for, and believe me, today, initially before COVID, I had to fight with parties to make them come online. They would say, ma'am, we are not comfortable, we can't do this setting, we don't know like this. But now, even in arbitration, to the time that cross-examination doesn't take place, parties are very happy to finish off the meetings quickly online. Number one, you don't have to travel. And even if agreements are reached, I do this simple rule for commercial matters is, the moment we reach the clauses, we call in the lawyers. The applicant lawyers first draft the consent term, shares it on email. All of us go through that, a final copy is made. Then along with the covering letter, you have what you call as the report, and to that you have the consent term. The applicant lawyer takes out 6 printouts of it, has it signed, and then whoever is in Mumbai, we either have this one meeting at a place and all of us will sign and hand over the 3 copies, or we just shuttle it by VFast. So a person takes the 6 printouts, who is the furthest, will sign, and then he will arrange to it that because he has to tender it to the court and he has to take the acknowledgement, he will become the carrier of the process and do the needful and tender it. So even for that purpose, they are not willing to meet. They will tell me, ma'am, I'm in distant Nerul. By the time I travel 1.5 hours and 1.5 hours, I'll send it by VFast, ma'am. If I don't send it by tomorrow, I'll come. This is what they say.
Yeah, so it's just technology, using other technology to be able
Even
to
today, you will not believe, Kamakshi, life is so easy. I'm a counsel. And after Justice Chandrachud, Chief Justice Chandrachud has said that, you have to force the court to have it hybrid. Make an application and say that I want to be heard online. Yes, it is happening in Bombay High Court, which was the most reticent court to do this online because of various issues, but it is doing it now. Because see, all the time you spend in traveling, while you have an arbitration, you travel. The moment you open your brief and start a matter, the other side will say, Ma'am, we need 1 week's time. Our counsel is not available. Oh my God, I say, really? No. So I've been so spoiled with arbitration and mediation that now litigation is becoming cumbersome to me. Sorry, I didn't say that. Okay, Kamakshi.
Yeah. So, Dr. Geetanjali, you very rightly said that to be a mediator is actually a long process. And
Yes,
it's not enough to just complete your training and start the very next day. So,
yes,
what are some of the tips that you would be able to
yes. I
give
will
us?
give you. I'm the correct person to give you the tip because it is, like I was full of myself. I thought, I'm the most, I'm Dr. Sandeep. So I would do this. Who gives a rat's ass to anybody? I will fight tooth and nail in court and fight it nicely. So I've been counsel like for more than 30 years, and every war was, a war to be won with all hurts and bruises and God knows what. But somewhere down the line, you realize and you admit to yourself that first you need to, empty yourself. The moment you empty yourself, you gain ground and learn. And when you gain ground and learn, you understand that when you sit with a party and the party speaks to you, as a counsel, I used to not handle parties directly. The lawyers would come to me. When in mediation, I heard them and I heard their problems, it became more realistic. I found that, going to court and reading out from a brief and telling things did not give me as much satisfaction as when I mediated a matter, heard them, saw the happiness in their faces, and make it happen for them. And the more and more I, mastered this process, the more and more I fell in love with it. But yeah, I can admit to you, really, that it would be a lie to say that if there is a matter which calls for, to plead a case in court, you can really do it because you believe in that. Now, there are some matters where you see that, mediation can't be an answer. And when your lawyer, if mediation is an answer, I first tell my clients, opt for mediation. And I first tell the court, this is an excellent case, Your Lordship, which should go for mediation. I am opposed, but I keep on doing that till I hit, I'll say, what is there to lose? You lose 2 dates. Let's make use of this Diwali vacation and we can have 3 hearings. Reopening, we are back in court, Your Lordship. I'm not trying to delay the matter. And it happens. So because you have dwelled into all these things, there is a trust which the court infuses in you. So you come back and you say, we tried, we failed. What happens really is, because when people are not trained, they will ask you the reason. They'll say, ma'am, why it failed? And it is very difficult to tell them that it is the process which will tell. But today we have an act. So I am very happy with the act. Many people find many flaws, but I have found a father figure in the act because everything I blame it. I have someone to say, there, it is written there, read that. Okay. Earlier, everything had to be explained. So when they asked you confidentiality, where is it? Or ethics, where is it? Or whatever. You had a difficult time. But having said that, I will say mediation is something which cannot be controlled. Mediation has to be free flow. The scope can't be limited. People can't be controlled because then it will tend to become adversarial. Leave it. Let it be birds with wing and let the mediator soar high, taking them in whatever direction they want to take. And I'm sure there will be wonders when it will outdo courts very soon. That
Yes.
I didn't say that. Okay.
Yeah, the process itself of mediation and just allowing the process to be free flowing
Yes.
is really so important, and it's so beautiful also.
Mindfulness, Kamakshi, mindfulness. So every time that you are there in front of them, you meditate and you tell yourself, now I'm going to switch on the computer. There are going to be people over here. What I need, you cannot blame anyone. You cannot say that somebody was rude, or you have to take that as a learning process. When you close the computer after that half an hour on Zoom, you slap yourself saying, God, why did I do that? He caught me there. Or you have to You have to realign yourself to say, there, I'm still the same stupid counsel that I was. This was a mediation. And to be tender and to use the language that they do. I'm very bad with Marathi and Hindi. Believe me, it is pathetic. But you have to do it to the best of your ability. You have to do it because today I had somebody who had to pay a loan. And she was like, my heart reached out to her and I told her, I have to thank you, ma'am, because मुझे ना आपको एकदम तहे दिल से थैंक यू बोलना है कि उन्हें आप फर्स्ट फोन कॉल में उठा के बोले कि मैं ये मीडिएशन में आऊंगी. My Hindi is so pathetic, so pathetic. I sound so stranger to myself. But what do you do when you see her? Your heart automatically pours out. And there's IDBI bank and there's this bank and that bank, and you can't do. But at least you make that experience so enriching to them that when they go back, they feel that, things could never have been. It is this is, I have to think about an alternative.
Yeah, that's so right. I mean, just being mindful,
Yeah.
then it covers up everything. I think even in the flaws in the language and not knowing the language
Yes.
or not being fluent doesn't really matter.
Your heart opens up. They can see that you are writhing for them. You want to speak for them, but your hands are tied. You can't say, okay, I'll pay your money. You can't say to that extent you're thinking for them. That's all. And the moment you forget yourself, the moment you become that solution you want to see, you mastered the art.
Yes.
Till then, and only remember one, there's no flaw in the process. There's no flaw with the people who will come to you. Only see the creases in you and iron them out. If you play that and if you keep doing that, it is magic, pure magic.
That's so true, and that's such a beautiful thought. And I'm going to take one last question. I'm going to ask you rather one last question, and then I don't know if we have time. We can take a few questions from our participants if they have any. Now, my last question comes down to the act, which you've kind of spoken a lot of today. Are there any takeaways from this act that are really going to be fundamental in making mediation completely mainstream?
Yes, definitely. See, like I said, time and again, earlier we had an arbitration act, we had a conciliation act along with that, we had the civil procedure code, and we as lawyers, right from the time we took admission to LLB, we know that we have to rant off a section. Without ranting off whether it is a criminal thing or a civil law or a property act or a transfer, whatever it may be, whether it is limitation, whether it is anything, as little kids in law, we ranted off sections. I found it very strange that even in that goes for arbitration, but in mediation, think about it. In mediation, we have nothing, no paperwork, nothing. The parties just come to you. You don't even know what their matter is. You don't even know. Only when it comes from a commercial court, you know it is a commercial matter. If it is coming from a court annex mediation, justice so and so has appointed you in one matter. How in the world are you going to know what kind of matter is coming to you? They come to you for a preliminary meeting. Email IDs have been shared, and you throw open, and you suddenly see strangers. And you have to infuse that confidence in them and decide for yourself how you're going to keep them, how the doctor is going to make his surgery right. There's no second chance, no second chance. One wrong step and you're done. And therefore you have to be very, very careful without losing your authenticity. Now about the act, everything that you tell them right from your opening statement, you find the backup in the act. Earlier, every person who would come to me would ask me that, ma'am, where is it written? Where is it written? So Kamakshi, I find when I look at my act, I find I don't have to go any further. I don't have to look for a Supreme Court judgment which reinforce confidentiality. I don't have to look up for who can be appointed mediator, cannot be appointed mediator. It talks about who is a mediator. It talks about community mediation, pre-institution mediation, everything it talks about. And there is an act, and you can go and read that. To that extent, definitely. And like all acts, we can't say that it is replete and complete in every, I mean, not replete, it is complete in any way. There may be some things about it which I'm sure the draftsman must have let be, because otherwise it would, number one, be delayed beyond call, and by then its usefulness would not serve the purpose. And also they must have feel, let us play this and let us see from where it goes, and then we have the wherewithal to change it, to take it where we want to take it. So let us make use of that beautiful act to the best that it has to offer. That is what my take on the act is.
Absolutely. And considering that the act is still, I mean, in its nascent stages, so
stage.
we will really get to know as the rules and the procedures come in, how
Yes,
it's
once we have the mediation council in place, we'll have the mediators who are well qualified. We don't have people who one little training and they call themselves mediators. So all these people who then spoil the name of mediation. But then see, look, I always believe in market forces, because whenever or whatever anyone can do bad, even if 3 good people do good things, it will always outplay the bad, So it's because the good is, I mean, the bad is there, therefore the good is so good, isn't it? So no complaints.
Absolutely. Do we have any questions from our participants? You may want to raise your hand.
Please forgive me for my long answers, but I'm a lawyer, so I talk too much, a counsel.
We have Dr.
Like,
Subbu.
the answer to why we don't be a judge is because I like to tattle. I don't like to listen. But as mediators, you have to develop that active listening.
Hi. In the Consumer Protection Act, there is an exception for certain kinds of medical negligence cases that cannot be
Even in the
mediated.
Mediation Act, yes, you're right.
So that grievous hurt and all will not be covered. So that's not there even in the Mediation Act, right?
Yes. So
Because
wherever we call in the police, or wherever we call in the something which has to do with evidence and all that, then mediators have to keep away from all these things.
because
Yes.
most of the cases that would come up even before consumer courts would be deaths,
Yes.
mortality resulting into, or a morbidity where patient has suffered a grievous injury.
Yeah.
So the scope becomes very, very
Very narrow.
limited. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, like I said, Subodh, look at it this way. Doctors, do your deed, and if you can enforce impartiality and neutrality in such a way that it will become a thing to stay, then we have in African and other countries, I've done a good lecture on that, reformative mediation, restorative justice, where what they have done is, I mean, it's such a wonderful topic. What can I tell you? That hardened criminals, who have life sentences, who are repeat offenders, are taken into this mediation of restorative justice. Because see, the simple reason why we think that they need to be locked up is because there's no hope for them. They'll come back and commit the same offense. They won't be accepted into mainstream, and etc. etc. So how you stay with them and transform them into good citizens, and then put them into the mainstream life, so that they melt into people without anyone having a clue that they were offenders or hardened criminals. Same way, in once you have a very good machinery set up, where that it will be as good as, in fact, better. Let me tell you better. I'll tell you why. Look at the offenses which the doctors foresee. If you have a complete a machinery where the doctors will become neutral and treat those cases, who will be better judges? Will it be the doctors who know the extreme threadbare scrutiny of what has gone wrong, whether it was really negligence, whether it was malified, whether it was, purposely, or I fail with all those words, so please forgive me. But definitely you are a better judge. But then who will bell the cat? Only time, or, to my mind, definitely, if you give it the keys into the hands of the people who didn't know it better. Because in our profession, we definitely know who are the black sheep, who are the white sheep, who are gray sheep, and who are what sheep. We definitely know them. Because we have been there. I've been playing the game for 30 years. So I know it. So I also know which way they would take it. So if you can have a machinery of your own, or a mediation machinery, like the way, that is why I compared you all with a corporate setup. Look at it this way. Now, for example, in the corporate hierarchy, you have what you call, say, Kamakshi, I hope you are allowing me this. Yes, okay. So at the lower level, then you have okay, I'm just weaving. You have a weaving department, you have a cloth department, textile, or whatever department. So each department, they know the inner story, and within them you have the wise one. They are trained, all are trained in mediation. So the moment there is you say, nip it in the bud. So the moment all get the training in mediation, there is a dispute between A and B, it gets referred to two mediators who sit in mediation, but they are observed. They are observed by the next level supervisors. And that way a result is reached, a warning or whatever is doled out, matter gets closed there. And mediation in-house, you don't even have to come to court, you don't have to go elsewhere to have your mediators. You have a mediation in your house. So whether it is a doctor's profession, whether it is a lawyer's profession, it's like, asking a doctor to intervene between two lawyers or bar council matters. The same thing. So lawyers can never sit on as a mediator. The only thing is I will understand is, the whatever you explain to me. I wouldn't be able to go deeper than that. So maybe the Medical Council of India or whoever should think about having this, or maybe that is the next step. After we have the Mediation Council of India, they may have some of you from each branch of this, and where then you can individually go and set up a council for yourself. That's the next step I see. Yes, Dr. Deepa.
Thank you so much.
See, madam, basically, you said just now that what we are doing is we'll have a very limited scope for as far as the cases that are going to be dealt with by the mediation, because most of the things that people go to the court for are generally for things like maybe deaths, as Dr. Sirur has already mentioned. So, what kind of cases do we think should be coming up to us?
That is a question I wanted to tell you all. See, as I say in all my trainings, that once you think that you have taken this training and it has given you an insight into what mediation is, each one of us should look out for what should be our next step. Do we want to become mediators? Where do we want to be mediators? The Mediation Act doesn't differentiate between you and a lawyer or you and anybody. So you can sit in mediation for any matter. Now, who can't sit in mediation for a commercial matter? A matter which is between an architect and a service provider. So he has provided architectural service. That commercial matter comes to you, Deepa. You are appointed by the Dindoshi court. The amount is about 12 lakhs. Now they come to you. You know mediation. You don't, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, or you're nobody. You're a mediator. You know the mediation process. You're armed with the mediation process tool. You carry out mediation. For that, what you do is you get onto the panels. Whichever panel is offering, find out which panel is offering for becoming a mediator, and whether you are able to do it. You apply for institutional empanelment, Indian Merchant Chamber, whichever chambers are offering you empanelment, you can be empaneled. And who knows, if there are doctor matters which come to these institutions, immediately they will be able to refer it to you.
Okay.
Yes. So the next step that you should take is enhance hone your skills. You find out what your strengths are, what your skills are, and what are the things that you need to work on. So find out those kind of trainings, do more role plays, attend as co-mediation. So if you know people who are doing mediations, trainers, sit with them, see them in online, basically confidentiality. If I have confidence in you, that you are going to only do it for the process of learning, and I can tell the parties that so and so is my junior, she's just going to sit and learn mediation. I take their take them into confidence, and they, of course, ma'am, we don't mind, definitely, please go ahead. And you sit with me in mediation, you learn and you see it, and therefore you hone your skills. You realize that this is the way I would have handled it, the way we all do as a junior doctor or as a junior lawyer.
Thank you, ma'am.
We shouldn't narrow our scope to thinking that, just because I am a doctor and therefore I can only do mediation cases where doctors are. We don't think like that. We do all kinds of matters. In fact, I will tell you, don't even have to unlearn. As lawyers, we have to unlearn and get rid of that gown, which makes us so adversarial. I have to learn not to take sides. I have to learn to be neutral. You don't have to do that. You all are basically neutral. When you look at parties, you can directly start and tell them. Only mindfulness that we have to, that how do we, while all the time, like, it is like learning the car. Like when we are doing so many things, we forget that, we have to not hit somebody and not do those things. So, but once you get it, then you can even sleep and do it that way. Not sleep. What I meant is subconsciously.
That's so true, Dr. Gitanjali. I mean, just sharpening one's skills and continuing on the path will like almost create the path for you. All we need to do is just move ahead and keep the learning process on all the time.
There are so many videos available. You can always, Kenneth Klug, the good ones, the way they speak on mediation, they have this, how they conduct mediations, etc., etc. Very well worth watching. Definitely a lot to learn. So what we will find is that we are all humans. We go through basically the same emotions of learning, unlearning, few in different areas of life, and we need to just bide over that. Deepa, have I answered your query?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, so that brings us to the end of this very, very beautiful and interactive session where Dr. Gitanjali has been so kind enough to take all questions from the participants and from me as well. I know we are pressed for time and we are already hitting 9:33, but I'm going to just invite Mrinalini to come in for a quick note of appreciation for Dr. Gitanjali before we end.
Thank you so much, Kamakshi ma'am. So I just wanted to let you know, Dr. Gitanjali, that it was such a pleasure listening to you. I think just in terms of the tone that you started off with, and I love the part where you had so many minute jokes and idioms and phrases. It was absolutely a pleasure to listen to you. And I think that I know you've been mentioning so many times that you were giving long answers, but I'm sure that we did not feel it was long. We could have perhaps heard you for longer. And even from your answers, we sort of understood your experience and the information that you brought to the table. So really, really grateful that we got to listen to you today.
Let's cut that short.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Believe me, let me end on this note. I am grateful that you all had me. I learned so much from you, and today I am happy that I came to know so many of you. So thank you for having me, and please understand that whatever I spoke, it was in all humbleness, and I'm sure each of you will become better mediators. I shared everything with enthu, but not with pride. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much. Each
Thank
of you.
Thank you so much,
forward
ma'am.
in your
Thank you,
own
madam.
field, and all the best to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.